Hi guys, Nate here at MyMOD, coming to you today with a brand new GTA Online video, a walkthrough for our YouTube series. This episode today is going to feature the vehicle warehouse, and I'm going to show you how to maximize its potential and the method that I use in order to generate as much money as I can from it. Good thing about the vehicle warehouse, something you guys should know, is that it's a great single player tool to use to get money. It's got a lot of potential in it for that. So if anybody playing hasn't got a squad to use, then this is an excellent option. If you look around, you'll see that I've got some extra tools at my disposal. These are things that I'll be using for my vehicle sell missions. Now, if you are still quite new to GTA Online and you haven't generated enough money for these tools, then it's not necessary for you to use them, so you don't have to worry about that. But I'm going to show you my method and how I use them to maximize the vehicle warehouse's potential completely. So here we go. Now, of course, in order to get the vehicle warehouse, you do have to have the office. The office can be bought on Dynasty 8 exclusive. And then from the internal computer inside your office, you purchase the vehicle warehouse. This one, I believe, is the cheapest, and it seems to be like that everyone chooses this one because it does get a bit heated around here at times. So we'll see what happens today. I'm sure something's going to screw up along the way. But join me on the ride and we'll have a bit of fun doing so. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to show you something really cool. Not a lot of people know this. But in the vehicle warehouse, you have a limited storage number within the vehicle warehouse. And as you store them, of course it fills up. But what Rockstar don't tell you is that there are slots reserved for the different tiers of cars that you steal in the vehicle sell missions. So basically the trick really with the vehicle warehouse is to only sell high-end cars, the ones that make you the most money. The reason for doing that is that there is only 10 allocated slots for high-end cars in this garage. Everything else is for the mid-range and the low-range vehicle. So the trick really is to build up all of the mid-range, the low-range cars, fill all of those spots up, so that every time you go from a vehicles collection mission, after those slots have been filled up, you will only ever get high-end cars coming through. Granted, that only does leave you with 10 slots for you to sell, but you can guarantee that every time you're going to sell a car with those 10 slots, that there will be high-end vehicles. So that's a little trick to bear in mind. Now, of course, it does take a lot to fill up this garage. A lot of time, a lot of man hours, so be prepared for that. I just got to the point now where I've been selling my mid-range and low-range ones because it just takes too long for me. I got other games to play, unfortunately. But yeah, that's a quick tip for you. Now, to sell your cars, you have to do it from the internal computer in the vehicle warehouse, not the business center. So make sure it's that. You'll see the computer just in there. Now that's what you'll be doing at the start if you don't have the tools I've got at my disposal, but I will go and show you the tools as well. So really with the vehicle sell missions, I utilize four major components. So the Buzzard being one here, the Terrorbyte, which can execute missions from the inside of this truck, so I won't have to go back to my business center every time to steal a vehicle. Conveniently, I parked it in the car park next to the vehicle warehouse, so it's very easy for me to sell the car and then jump straight into a steal mission from the truck. Inside the truck as well is an oppressor that I've stored in there, and of course, if anyone's been playing Gtao Online recently, you'll know that the oppressor is completely overpowered, but it's a very useful tool to have if you're just grinding and trying to get that money. The Buzzard I've got here is not one that I call from Pegasus, but from my CEO menu. Now, if you look, I've got CEO vehicles here. You have to, of course, join the CEO in order to access this menu. And you'll see that, even though it's grayed out, you'll notice that the cost of my Buzzard is free. Now, you won't see that if you just start and you haven't purchased a Buzzard yet in your inventory. You actually have to buy it from the Warstock website. You can call one from Pegasus after that, but if you are a CEO, you can actually use the in-game CEO menu to acquire a Buzzard. So you can actually have two Buzzards going at once. You can have your Pegasus Buzzard and your CEO Buzzard. Your CEO Buzzard, once it's blown up, you can just spawn again after a certain time limit has passed. But that's always good to know. If you don't have the Buzzard in your inventory, it will cost money to spawn there. So I'll show you inside the Terrorbyte here. Here's my Terrorbyte, very plain, but got everything that you need. This bad boy here. And this big interaction menu. So I'll use that. And as you can see, I've got my options here. You'll see biker supplies locked out. Well, you have to be a part of a biker gang in order to do those missions. And vice versa for the CEO, so just bear that in mind as well. So if we hover over to the vehicle cargo, and you can see I've got the availability to steal a vehicle there. The mission will start just as it starts in the Arcadia Business Center. And you'll see at the bottom there, I've got a top range Reaper.
Okay.
So I'm gonna jump on my Oppressor Mark II, and I'm gonna head out and see if I can get this vehicle. So there's a number of different missions in order to acquire these cars. A couple of them require the use of a cargo bob in order to pick the car up from a barge that's on the water. They're pretty tricky missions actually, even for me. You do get offered a cargo bob for the mission to steal. So it's not a problem if you haven't got one, but again, just bear in mind that you'll probably want to buy a cargo bob in the future just so you get easy access to one straight away. As you can see, straight there, literally. This is a race one, so I don't even know if this vehicle is appropriate for the race. Oh, it looks like it is. So that's quite convenient. Usually race on the ground to the spot, and the person that you're trying to steal the car from, well, he's going to beat you up because he's not happy that you beat his time. So we'll head all the way out there. Just another thing to note, guys, if you do end up getting the Oppressor, it drives so much faster than your normal thing. I think the in-game clock, it runs up about 90 miles an hour on the floor, so you can see I'm breezing very quickly past these other cars. As soon as you pull yourself up, it starts to slow down significantly. So just always bear that in mind. Oh, send the rocket out accidentally there. Also, if you want to keep yourself to the floor, hold RB. RB keeps you grounded on this bike. And also is a great way to lower your elevation quickly as well, if you're in dogfights or anything like that. This is going to be interesting. Can't remember if you can dive into the water on one of these. Skim right across the top of it. That's perfect. Note to mention, if you don't own a hangar, the military base will come for you. I'm not sure about the missions. Just one to think about. I will be going into the hangar on a later video. Unfortunately, it's decided to pick one of the longest missions for me to do. In that case, for a mission like this, it's hard, of course, because you need to race in order to complete this one, but I would bring on long missions like this a cargo bulb, so I can hook the car straight away. Okay, so dude's gonna come after me now. Fuck you. It's a nice car. With top-end cars, you're going to rack up some real costs on the damage. I've had damage before that's maxed at 15 grand, I think, and it's a lot to pay for repairs. So we'll see how much we accrue on this one. We've got a long way to go. Another bonus of the cargo bob is that you can lift this car very high to avoid the NPC characters shooting and creating damage. As you can see, I've always got 2 grand damage and I haven't even crashed yet. So I'm going to imagine I'm going to have probably near enough 10 grand damage by the time I get to the garage, if I get to the garage. Uh-oh. Damn. Dude's got me now. Bit of a disaster. Something that I absolutely hate about this game is the fact that they have NPC characters in this mission. I think they were put in so that if you were the only one in the lobby, there was going to be a little challenge put against you. But they seem to add them even when there's people in the lobby. And I can see I've got near enough full lobby here. Really no need for it. Of course, if you want to maximize the efficiency of your operation, you're going to want to keep that damage down to a minimum, because that costs you. You're going to have to pay those damages in order to sell this car. You can't sell it as it is, of course. They're back again. I think I'm going to break a record for damage this time around. And you also have to pay 20 grand in order to maximize the profit on this car as well, because the buyers, they want the car customized, bespoke for them, so that's another expenditure that goes down on the list. You get I think it's an 80 grand profit selling the car with no damage, but you pay 20 grand for the customizations. And then add the 12 grand of repair costs, and you're looking at around 60 grand profit for one car. The reset timer for one car to sell is 20 minutes, and if you have a crew with you, you can sell up to 4 cars. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So we've got 2 people in front of me. They're street racing. A little note, helpful tip as well. If you ever get sat nav directions that take you through the city to get to this particular warehouse, don't use it. Always stay on the motorway, because the exit junction is directly opposite the vehicle garage door. So I always stay on the road, even though it tells me that I'm going the longer way. Don't listen to it. It's so much more convenient, so much more effective. So this is our junction. Pop this one, and then right at the T here. Looks like we successfully stole this vehicle. So at this point now, you would have to make your way back to the warehouse. Sorry, not back to the warehouse, back to the Arcadia Business Center or whatever business center you have in order to sell your car. In order to steal a new car, sorry.
Okay, that's on the books at your warehouse. You've got to use the SecuroServe terminal at the office if you want to go after another one.
As you can hear in the audio of that phone call, then she tells me I have to go back to the office. Well, I don't need to do that. I can go to my Terrorbyte to execute a new mission. There's a cooldown timer. I think it's 5 minutes. So we'd have to wait a couple more minutes in order to do that. I can show you another tip that I have, or that I would use usually if I'm really grinding to get as much money as I can. That in that cooldown timer interval, as a CEO, I'd execute a VIP mission. That could be anything from sightseer to, well, we'll have a look, shall we? Now, okay, sightseer and headhunter are the ones that I like to use. Headhunter is very quick if you use the right tools. And I'll fill my time doing this in between the interval. If you start this in Los Santos, typically your targets will be in Los Santos as well. I've had it in the past where it sends me all the way out to the countryside to kill them, which is a bit of a pain. Doesn't most of the time doesn't happen. Okay, so I assassinated that target. Less than 30 seconds in. One more to do. Sometimes these VIP missions are double XP as well. Always check Rockstar Social Club for all of the promotions that they do and the deals and the double XP. Always worth looking at them, because there's a reason I'm at level 485 is because I utilize those double XP weekends as much as I could. It really shot me up there. So these assassination missions, there's always two in motion, two vehicles in motion, and then there's 2 fixed areas. Now this one's not spooked yet. I always like to wait for a opportune moment like that where the car's static, and then go in and use many rockets as I can. So that's my second target done. if this is the right one, I'll show you a little trick, because these are repeated locations. They're not all different, so you start to work out the routes and the routines very quickly. But look here, very difficult. There's just a little window behind the tree there. You send some rockets in there, hopefully you take out your target. There we go. Otherwise, you'll have to get out of your helicopter and work yourself into the car pilot, which is actually quite difficult. I wouldn't recommend doing it that way. These people shoot, and they shoot well. So I'm just working through the targets on this one. I know the target's on the far right, and how many times I've done it. There it is, behind the tree. We can get that one. There we go. 21 grand. Kind of makes up for the damages that I lost from stealing the car. I think Los Santos is still one of the best looking cities in any video game. Even to this day, I can't believe, you know, it's still being played to the extent it is. 7 years on from when it first started. It's incredible. So back to the headquarters. And you kind of get the gist from this. It's just, you know, it's a case of repeat. You know, and do it as many times as you can. You know that once, you know, you've filled up the sections of mid-tier and low-tier cars, that you only ever have high-tier payouts from now on, which is always useful. From the Terrorbyte menu, you can also request your repressor back. Useful tool. Not many people know about, you know, the depths of the interaction menu on GTA, but I would say, you know, out of everything, get used to that interaction menu, because there's so many useful things you can use inside of it. When you're trying to sell vehicles as well, actually, we'll sell a vehicle. Just complete the video. There's the Reaper. We'll sell the Reaper for the sake of it. Okay, so you see the standard ranges, the mid ranges, and the top ranges. Always want to sell the top ranges. And the more people you have in your crew, the more slots you can fill up. So you go to export. I always go specialist dealer. Sometimes you might not have the money to do it. But it's going to cost you 20 grand to customize your vehicle. So you can sell it for a profit of 80 grand.
Let's get to
Once
work.
you go into this, there is really no reason for you to go through all of the customizations.
You know who makes good license plates? Prison inmates.
When it gets to the grind, you know, no point doing it. Just pick the easiest ones.
Look at that finish.
Performance upgrades get added as a whole, so you don't have to worry about that. And just any slight difference to the bodywork is a confirm.
It's got a whole new profile.
High-end. There, stock wheels. Alright, good to sell. A little tip though, if there's people around you, very close to you, as you're selling this vehicle, probably not a good idea to do what I just done and leave the garage straight away. I always press start at that point, or I used to always press start to see if there was any enemies around, because by this point it's far too late. People will be waiting, ready to steal this car from
the
you.
work's been done. Take the car.
So we've got to go. It's not one of the greatest ones, it's quite far. You'll see that the sat nav is taking me right. Don't ever go right, not worth it. Go left from this garage, and then join the road here. So, like in the steal mission, we stick to the highway. In the sell mission, we'll stick to the highway as well. If I know people are coming for the car or they're trying to blow it up to get their XP up, I'll go into the CEO abilities section of my Secure Serve tab and I'll hit Ghost Organization. It costs 12 grand, so it's a big expenditure. But you're better off paying 12 grand and delivering your car than not paying 12 grand and having the whole thing destroyed. So for the sake of it, I'm just going to go into Ghost now. Now what Ghost does is takes your sprite completely off the minimap for anybody to see, including your vehicle that you're selling as well. Some people will try and use the Leicester service, which takes you off the radar for around a minute. It works for your own personal sprite, your own mini-map indicator, but for the vehicles or the cargo that you're shifting, it's not going to cover that. So there'll still be big flashing red dots on the map for people to try and blow up. But in Ghost Organization, everything is covered. Your cargo, your car deliveries, even your teammates, if you are in a session with your friends, they'll be covered under the Ghost Organization as well. So let's see if we can sell this car and finish the mission. If you've got a bit of extra cash lying around and you're looking to maybe modify your vehicle warehouses, change the location, a good tip is to always park your or put your vehicle cargo warehouse as close to your business center as possible, just for ease of logistics. You may not think it, but you know, if you can take out a couple of miles here and there on your travel time in this game, it saves you so much time. If you're not considering those things, you can look down at the clock and find that, you know, 2-3 hours has flew by in no time.
Okay, we
So
did
there we
it.
go, finally.
That one's going on the balance
We
sheet for
sold
next
the car.
quarter.
We did it under Ghost as well. Still got a minute left, so we're completely safe and free from attackers, which is always cool. So we do a little nice dance to finish the video. I hope the tips were useful for you guys. We're doing, you know, a load more vehicles on Gtao Online as well. I've got tips in every corner of this game. So stick around and hopefully you may learn one or two more things about this game that you may not have already known. And maybe we'll do some community stuff going into the future as well. You know, there's lots of accessibility for community games or mini games that we can set up. So if you guys want to join in as well, we can always come around. You can always come into our Discord channels, for example, and build a crew up and get out into Los Santos and have some fun and cause some havoc. So thank you guys. Like and subscribe it. You know, if you enjoyed the if you enjoyed the video, if you've got any criticisms of the video as well, please put it into the comment section, because we need to improve. You know, always we're looking to improve our videos. You know, as much interaction as you guys possibly can give us is always a positive for us. So thank you very much. Nate is out.